Hello everyone, how we doing? It is Leyanne Oliveira from Life Below. Welcome to Life Below TV. And today we are having a very controversial topic about the Kanye West interview. And of course I wanted to bring my brother on with me so we can really share what our thoughts are and how we feel about it. What was our reaction after watching it, and just kind of share our discussions that we've had privately with you guys, with the public. So I'm sure a lot of you know Ifeanyi already. If you don't, Ifeanyi is a local entrepreneur based out of Providence, Rhode Island, although he's originally from Virginia, but that's a whole different topic. Here in Rhode Island, he has a local business called King Fit, which he ties fitness with spirituality and really helping you get over blockages, releasing everything you have to release, and seeing how that manifests in the physical. Really just helping you reach your optimum health, as well as your emotional and just well-being, overall well-being. Okay, so we're gonna go right into it. We really want this to be just a discussion to share what we think. So Ifeanyi will share a little about what he believes. I will share a little bit about what I believe. And then if we, disagree, then we can, tap base into that, and he can speak his truth and I can speak my truth. Okay, so today again we are talking about the Kanye West interview. So Kanye West, is everything that's going on with him, how he's being labeled as crazy, and just what he's sharing with us. What do we think about it? So I'll let Ifeanyi share a little bit. You can share maybe a quote or something that stood out to you, or maybe what do you think his message actually is? Like, what do you think this whole big fiasco he's making is about?
I personally think that Kanye West's video.
What do you think the big message is? Because some people, when I shared it with my partner, and I don't even think he had a chance to watch the video, but he was just sharing like, is it album coming out? Is this all this hype about an album? Or
Now, I don't really think that the video was more of a market scheme. I think the video is more of a warning about spiritual awakening. He's really trying to he's trying to educate people and educate those who are not fully aware about spiritual awakening, but he's not using it in the right. He's not saying it in the right words. Like, he doesn't know the right words to use to express himself, which also to me is like, there's no right or wrong way to express yourself. It's just what really resonates with you, and what really feels right with you, And I know everything he was saying was, because I'm very, very spiritual, and everything he was saying was more. I remember one time in the interview, he said, Charlemagne said, what happened, I think this past year they had a breakdown, and he said, he mentioned something about along those lines that it's not a breakdown, I call it a breakthrough,
a breakthrough, yeah.
And that really ties down to in spiritual awakening. We go through a process called the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is when you lose your identity, you lose your ego system, your ego, the ego part of you. The ego part of you dies. Your ego part of you is where when you're born, we're all being programmed. Is where you know your name, is where you know your identity. Whatever feels good to you, that's really ties down to your ego, your personality. But during that process, what the universe does or is trying to do is trying to basically strip things that are lower vibrations and things that don't serve you no more. And those things are the things that you resonated with all your life. So when you're going through that process, you think that your whole life is really ending. Because I'll use myself for example. I remember back when I was in college, my personality back then, I was into partying. And I remember when I started going through my spiritual awakening, and I just stopped. The things that the friends I used to have, I stopped having them. I started going through real life crisis. You can call it life crisis, but that's what spiritual awakening is. It shreds and sheds the things that don't serve you no more. And what Kanye West realized was, he realized at the end of the day that he wasn't going through a breakdown, he was going through a breakthrough. Because at the end of the day, after the dark night of the soul, you now find your true essence.
Yes.
And when you find your true essence, now you understand that he mentioned something else that was very funny. He said that when he was in the hospital, that he felt the fire, because now your true essence is just not fire. I'm going so crazy.
No, that I love that, and I think why that resonated with me was because I do remember him saying, when that this experience, whatever he had, the breakthrough, it was like a forced humbleness, like it forced him to humble.
Yeah.
And I guess the opposite of ego is humbleness.
Right.
And so what do you think about the free thinking, right? So I personally think his message is his message is exactly what you're saying. But for me, at least, it resonated so much with the free thinking. And I think, we had conversations about this, but just this idea that, like he mentioned in the TMZ, right? He says that a coffee table is just a coffee table. It's just a table. And as you're a little kid, it becomes a playground. It's like this fantasy place that you just go, you play around, you do whatever in. And then, suddenly somebody, somebody older comes in and tells you, that's a coffee table. That's not a playground. And just completely takes away that fantasy, that just, this mystery, tall thing that you had in front of you. And now it's just a plain coffee table. So they take that away from you when you're 5. So now you think 6, 7, 8, up to 25 years old, 30, 40. How many things in your life is a coffee table? How many things have they stripped it away and really told you what it is, rather than allowed you to explore and figure out what you wanna call it, or what you wanna fit it into your life.
Right.
So this idea of being a free thinker and now going back, which is part of spirituality, but really going back and questioning everything, like, why is this way? Why do I think about it this way? Who told me this is this? And what part of it have I created? And what part of it, has somebody else created for me in my life? I think for me, it definitely ties into spirituality, but if we want to tie it into the physical, I think that's it. It's just telling us, like, think for yourself. Start questioning everything around you, especially media. That we are so, in social media, all the kind of medias that we are so engaged in. Music, Instagram, just constantly tapping, looking into, there's those sponsoring ads, just constantly seeing things that they are putting in front of you to program you or make you think a certain way. For you to be a free thinker, you have to start questioning not only your old programming, but as you continue to go on your day-to-day. What are the things that are appearing to you, and how much of it are you creating versus they are creating?
Right. There was something that in that video that really stood out to me too, that I thought is going to be good for me to talk about. He said, Kanye West mentioned something about he never realized what it felt like to be without confidence until he lost it. And that really stood out to me because I'll finish what he said. I'll finish his quote. He said he didn't know what it felt like to be without confidence until he lost it. Then he had the ability to now empathize with people that didn't have it. And to me, what happens is, like I said, during spiritual awakening, you go through dark night of the soul, and also you also go through a process, and also you also go through, and also during spiritual awakening, you also go through a phase that you get disconnected, and things you get disconnected, you get detached from all the things that you once loved, all the things that makes you, you get detached because you need to be alone to discover who you truly are. You need to be alone to really go home and really understand your true essence, your true nature, And what happens is during that process, you have during spiritual awakening, you have basically you unlock your life chakras. There's 7 of them, and but the main one is your heart chakra. When he during this process of spiritual awakening, his heart chakra started opening up more, and when your heart chakra start opening up more, you now start seeing the oneness in everybody. You start seeing your own reflection in other people. Kanye West, he has come across people, I'm sure, in his life that he had confidence, but he wasn't able to resonate with them, to connect with them, because his heart chakra was closed, and not closed towards them, but it's just close to us, just being unaware of it, just being unaware of the oneness in all of us. But when you become more in tune with yourself and being in tune with the universe, you understand how one we really are, and the universe, sometimes life want to teach you the other lesson, for you to be on the other side to really see, because life is all about balance, and like he also mentioned about there's no good or bad, so
he just mentioned a lot of universe.
Yeah, he mentioned a whole lot about there's no good or bad, and life is about balance, and he has always been with confidence. So to balance it out, he got to experience what it feels like without confidence. Now for him to now know what the next person feels, what this person feels, it's all about lesson. And Kanye West is really evolving to his true self, and what happens is his spirit is way faster than his physical body, and he also mentioned that his mind is in 2030, but he has to speak in the language of 2018 because this is where we are. Because right now, everything he's saying is hard for us to understand because we might not even know where exactly it's coming from, you know, because we don't, some people might not be on the same vibrational level as he is to truly understand what he's saying, and they might call him crazy just because they don't understand what he's saying, you know, and he doesn't know how to bring it down to that level because...
And really quick, before you get off that topic, because I want to mention that. So, a lot of us now are calling him crazy, but if we look at any, you know, if we look at the phases of transformation or the phases of changes that we've gone through, period, in our whole, like, you know, lifetime of our humanity, every time something is so radical, it's a radical transformation and change that needs to happen, the first phase is always crazy. Yeah. It's always, you know, that sounds crazy. Like if we think about, you know, a doctor saying, you know, they want to, in the beginning when we first started getting, you know, doctors wanted to do surgical procedures, you know, a doctor actually saying, you know, I'm going to cut you up. I'm literally going to cut your stomach up and I'm going to go in, I'm going to fix whatever I have to fix. Or even something as crazy as an open heart surgery. For you at the time that we've never experienced surgeries at all, for a doctor to tell you that he was going to go in and, you know, perform open heart surgery, you would think that is crazy, right? That's the term we use, crazy. Like, that's crazy. I would never allow you to do that. But now look where we are. Right. So same thing with Kanye West. I think that we are, again, mentioning what you said about, you know, his mind being at 2030 and us still being in 2018, is this idea that there's a big change coming upon us. And to the average being or the person that is, you know, maybe vibrationally not where he's at, the communication is different. They might see it as crazy, but really crazy just means that we are at the beginning of a crazy transformation. So crazy is really a good thing. It's just like things are about to change. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that we understood crazy. Crazy is not a bad thing at all. So as you're calling Kanye West crazy, you're really calling him genius and a trailblazer, in my opinion.
Right. And also, what I love about this whole Kanye West fiasco is just the fact that Kanye West is truly showing us an example of what it feels like to be getting direct downloads from the universe, direct downloads from God, in the sense that when God gives you a lot of information, you can't just keep it in no more. You can just speak it, and when you speak it, it doesn't need to be raw. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be anyhow. You just gotta speak it the way.
And you speak it with courage.
You just gotta speak it, you know.
Fearlessly.
Right. Exactly. You know, and that's what downloads. It downloads is a tailor-made information for him, and he has that information, and he has to, and we. Before I continue, we have to understand what kind of soul we are. You know, we have different kinds of souls. People are really, the school system really hides a whole lot of big information about who we truly are. You know, like we have different kinds of souls. We have the light workers. We have the earth workers. We have so many of them. You got to find out. You got to find out who you truly identify with, and you now understand your destiny. You know, because Kanye West, he mentioned something along these lines that he said. We all belong somewhere in the universe, but his position is just he has to express himself. So he identified his soul, and his soul was just like, yo, I need to express myself. You know, that's whatever information comes in his head, he cannot keep it in. If he keeps it in, he can get sick from it. You know, he can get, because now that will create blockages, you know, in his own body, because he's hiding his truth, and that can also close his throat chakra. You know, so he has to always speak his truth. And when he speaks it out, that's he has him in alignment with his mission. You know, his job is not to perfect it or make it sound right. There's someone else out there. You know, there's someone else out there that their job is to listen to what he says and write it in another way. But his job is just to speak it. You know, and you just go ahead and take whatever if you understand what he's saying at this moment, cool. If you don't, save the video, because someday you might get to that point. You know, because everything is all about experience and stages in life. You know, so I honestly feel like
wait, there's two things I want to bring out from what you said. One was this idea that someone else will, if you don't understand what he's saying, someone else's job out there is to figure out what he's saying and put it into the language that we understand. That could be somebody else's role in this lifetime. The problem is if all his brothers and sisters turn their backs to him because he's speaking something that they might not identify with, who will help him bring that message out? And if this is true, right, where we believe that this is, you know, the message that is supposed to go out there and really change the world and revolutionize just this whole, you know, experience that we're having, if we turn our backs to him instead of being curious and being free thinkers, how can someone be the person to write his story?
Right.
Wait. And then two, you talked about speaking your truth, which is, I guess, for me, one was being a free thinker, and then two is speaking your truth, no matter who identifies with it or not.
Right.
Because even though we identify with he's saying to a certain extent, we don't agree with everything he's saying, but we get the message. We feel like we understand, you know, what the core is, message of what he's trying to deliver, and where his intention is, which is so big. Where his intention is, he wants us to be free thinkers. He wants us to be, you know, cognizant and aware of our spirituality, but he also wants us to speak our truth no matter who agrees with it or not. Because again, if you don't speak your truth, you are not only, I guess, living a fantasy, living in the simulation, in the matrix, and creating a character and a personality that doesn't even exist, or you choose to be yourself and speak your truth and allow us to really see you raw, the real being and spirit that you actually are.
Right. And Kanye West, he one thing I love about the video is the fact that he also, in his own way, showed us how to be really truly courageous, you know, how to really truly stand by your word and stand by your whatever you believe in, you know, and he's willing to die for it, or else he will not shoot that video, you know. So for the fact that he can say that or do that, I think that's really admirable, you know. Just even like me being 24 years old, just looking at that just tells me that there's hope out there. You know, that tells me that I can do it too, you know. That tells me that no matter what your life goal, your life mission is, just speak, you know. As long as you believe in whatever you want to say, the universe will support you, you know. People don't need to agree with you, you know, but the universe is surely going to support you because that's your mission. You know, your mission is to, because keep in mind, we're not here forever. You know, we're here for a short period of time. And Kanye West is just completing the book in this chapter. You know, this is his own story. He's writing his story. You know, but keep in mind, his story has already been written for him. You know, but he just got to start reading it, and that's what he's doing now. He's just reading his chapter now, and this is where he's at in his life right now. You know, and I'm so proud that I'm happy that he did it. You know, I'm happy that he had the courage, despite what he's talking about. You know, even if you agree with it or not, just for the fact he could say something, you know, is huge. You know? And I remember Charlamagne asked him about like if he regrets the old Kanye, like when he was on stage talking about, what's that lady's name again? He was talking about. Is it Gaga? I don't know.
No, it's not Gaga.
Taylor Swift. Yeah. You know, I don't be watching them stuff, but when he was on stage saying whatever he said back in the day, you know, and then he does basically he doesn't regret it. He found that as courage, you know. He found that as courage for the fact that he was able to say, although people booed him, it doesn't matter as long as he said it. That's all that matters. And when he said that, best believe what he meant was he just planted a seed in your mind. Kanye West is really coming at you more on the soul mind level than what you're truly seeing. We're looking at it as the present, as oh my gosh, he's acting crazy. Oh my God, he's saying wild stuff, you know. But the wild stuff he's saying is gonna be in your mind forever, you know. And now you can tie that video to what he's saying now, and you can see the growth, and you can see the balance, you know. You can see the balance from when he was crazy Kanye speaking the same thing, and now he was recovered Kanye speaking the same thing. That's balance now. Now he's balancing his life out, and he's still speaking the same thing. And y'all will still think it's crazy right now. 10 more years from now, he will show you another video again. And I just hope everybody's catching on to what he's saying, because he's really showing us the different levels of vibration. You know?
And even for me, I think about it this way, right? So especially, you know, like POC, so like people of color, if he's our brother, right, shouldn't we care and love him even when we don't agree with his points? Shouldn't we, you know, show anyone that is watching that no matter what our brothers and sisters say, we're still going to support them in the sense that they're speaking their truth. We might not agree with it. I can support you from afar. Or even if I don't support you, I'm not going to bash you.
Right.
And I think that's another thing that is so hurtful for me is the community that is probably, you know, so gun-ho and really trying to, I guess, make him out to seem like the devil or someone that is completely bad, and the enemy now is the community that looks like him, the community that he has tried to support in the past. So the idea that someone is speaking the truth, I think the question I would like to ask anyone that is watching is, why does someone speaking their truth bother you so much? Is it because it's not your truth? And if it's not your truth, why does that still bother you? If you have one, do you have a truth? Because I have my truth, right? What I believe, what is my, what I have found as my truth in my experience so far, that if I encounter, Ifeanyi, and he has his truths and they're opposite from mine, I don't go crazy. I don't feel like I have lost a sense of identity because someone that looks like me or is from my community doesn't believe the same thing I do. So the people that, if you feel yourself getting so riled up about something that, another human being said that is their truth, their expression of what they really feel inside, that makes me question what lives inside of you. And for me, we'll make it introspect, right? So for me, I thought about the same thing when he mentioned, and we can talk about it a little bit, when he said, slavery was a choice. So for me, when I first heard that, of course, I have so much emotional ties into that. My great-grandparents experienced that. This is something that I'm still dealing with in this is America. So dealing with what we see on a day-to-day, how, people of color are being treated, and seeing the side effects of that, and for him to say it's a choice, of course, I was emotionally connected to that. So because I was emotionally connected to that, I was pissed off. Like, why would you say that? But because I'm constantly doing the work and trying to figure out myself and learn about me, I sat down to question, like, why does that bother me so much? Like, why does this man saying slavery was a choice, why does that bring so much emotion out of me? It's 3 words. And I think that's something we have to think about. How much emphasis are we putting to this, like, to history, in a sense that we're not being present of the present. Why are we being so, and I think he mentioned too that for us to think about it this way. If the Oscars, if global awards, all these big mainstream media is allowing you to talk about slavery, right? When you do a speech and you win something, Best Actress, they go up there, they talk about, I'm so glad I'm the first Black woman, slavery, they bring up all these things from the past and they allow it to happen. But as soon as someone wins an award and goes up there, a person of color, and is talking about, us building wealth and us investing in our community, all these things to uplift you, somehow they get mad at that. So when we bring up slavery and we're constantly bringing the narrative over and over again, are we, in a sense, hindering ourselves in any way? And, that's something I'm still grappling with and trying to understand more. But I do understand at a certain level what he means, even though I think you can't say slavery was a choice and put a period there. I think you have to explain more of what you mean. To a certain extent, the more I dive into that concept, the more I can understand what he's saying. Because as human beings, we have free will. That's not something people could argue with us about. We have free will. I could choose to get up right now and move. Even though Ifeanyi might hurt me, Ifeanyi might do something to me, I still have the choice. But, of course, you have to be educated enough to understand the harsh conditions that there were back then. That if you walk and you did get up and leave, that you could have got shot and killed and left, your kids behind and your family behind. So, our choices were controlled a little bit, but we still had choice. So now if we tie that back into now, what is happening with our choice? Is there somewhere that we are allowing them to have control, that we're not exercising our free will? I think that's more what he meant, like he wanted to emphasize on, to tell us, like, you have free will to do whatever you please, but watch who else is controlling your mind, who else is controlling your pocket, who else is controlling, how you express yourself, who else controls how you're feeling. What else, what could they be controlling about you that you could be mentally enslaved? But of course, I think when you slave 400 years was a choice, you are shutting a lot of people off. I think a lot of people, they're so hurt by it, just like me being so emotionally involved, that I'm so hurt that I get stuck on that, three words instead of, really looking deeper, thinking about the things me and Ifeanyi are talking about, like looking deeper into this video and saying, why is this man doing this? What is this about? What is he really saying?
Basically, I think, what he said about slavery being a choice, you know, once you hear that, you just shut down. He shuts you off, you know. And basically, in the spirituality, that ties down to attachment. That means you're so attached to that word, and when you're being attached to something, you get closed-minded from the rest. And once you hear that, you don't want to hear nothing else he's saying. You don't want to think about what he's saying. You want to put your shoes into what he's saying, you know. And what Kanye West is trying to say is basically, he's not necessarily saying like slavery was a choice, you know. Basically, sometimes as humans, we need to learn how to step ourselves outside and look in and trying to see what's someone else trying to say from their own point of view. You don't gotta agree to what he's saying. But what he's saying is we are basically stuck on to me, to my own understanding of what he meant was we're mainly stuck on our history. Our history is still someone's his story, which happened, which existed. That stuff it really resonated with everybody. Your history will never go away. It's still part of you till today. But at the same time, are you giving your mind a chance now are you giving yourself a chance to really know yourself and know what's really going on? Basically, yes, your history is always going to be part of you, but if you give yourself a chance, like when he said slavery was a choice, but complete the whole stuff again. He just said it was a choice.
Yeah, he said if we're thinking about it happened for 400 years. Yeah. 400 years sounds like a choice to me.
So basically what we got to do, or what he's just trying to say is, your history is cool. Always going to be a part of you, but give yourself a chance to actually get to know yourself. Because if you get to go deeper now with your mind and get to understand back your past life, understand what really happened, you know, now you can now see. First and foremost, you become detached from words, you know. Although you know the meaning of what the word means, but you get detached now. So you now give yourself a chance to see it from both sides, you know, which is balancing, you know. Like, it doesn't got to be right or wrong, you know. Like, he doesn't have to say it in the right way or in the wrong way. But if you have the ability to be, I don't know.
And I think that makes me think about, there's this quote about, I forgot if it's Albert Einstein, but, you know, to fix a problem, you have to raise your conscious level. Like, you can't solve the problem at the same conscious level that you're at. Right. The same problem that you created, you have to basically up-level your consciousness to fix that problem. You can't fix, you know, that problem at the same conscious level. So if you think about it that way, it's like, you know, our ancestors worked so hard to get us here. If we stayed mentally where they were, how do we elevate? Like, they've done all the groundwork and brought us here. You know, we still honor that. But how do we, you know, again, disattach, like you're saying, and look at it like a, you know, like a book, like a narrative, and see and say, you know, this is where we're at now. They have fought for us to have this freedom. You know, how do we truly exercise it? You know, and really move in the direction to create our own narratives and not allow it to happen. And something else that I noticed is, you know, when all this stuff, commotion was happening, before I even watched the interview, my younger brother, that is 17, came in the house and he's like, you know, did you watch it? You know, can't believe Kanye West said slavery is a choice. And he kept bringing up that same thing, slavery is a choice, slavery is a choice. And I'm like, bro, did you even watch the video? And of course, he did not watch the video. So I said, let's think about that for a second. So this whole time, you have been, you know, basically speaking somebody else's truth, speaking somebody else's perspective, and you're giving it to me. So thank God I'm a conscious being and I can see what you're doing. But if I wasn't, now once you gave me that information, that was somebody else's information, who, no matter, I don't even know where it started, you passed it down to me, now I can pass it down to Ifeanyi. So now we are all, you know, in a sense, not free thinkers. We are going off somebody else, the media, the 3 words that they keep wanting us to think about. That's what we're thinking about. Instead of, and I told him, like, how about you become a free thinker, like Kanye West keeps promoting, and you actually watch the video, and you sit down with a paper and pen, and pick up your emotions. How do you feel about what he's saying? And actually listen into what he's saying to get things out of it. And I think and then he was like, oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. That's true. And it just brings us back to the point of just really being conscious about what you are allowing into your space energetically in your mind, and and being aware of how it affects you. Because you cannot live your truth. You cannot be a full expression of who you really are if you don't even know who you are. And it's so easy for me to control you, for me to control the masses, if I have a glimpse of who you are, right, spirits, and I can just infiltrate and know exactly how to control you. And especially if you don't know yourself, that makes it much easier, because I can feed you little bits of truth with a lot of lies. and your spirit is going to be stuck on a little bit of truth.
Right.
So, you know, we're going to close it. We don't want to talk about this all night. But, again, for me is reminding you all to be free thinkers. Really question yourself what that even means. And if that's something that you've been exercising, or if that's a muscle that is underused by you. Because for me, I know that I'm still uncovering a lot of things that I have realized that I did not decide for myself, that was put onto me when I was younger, and I decided to adopt. So even though I have free will, somehow they infiltrated my mind, right, through the school system, through obviously cartoons, through television shows when I was younger. And it's in a way that I'm now fighting with that old programming that became a muscle of who I was. And now I'm fighting against it and really defining who I am and what I want to express freely. So for me is, you know, really, really live your truth, whatever that is, because it is so unique, it is so powerful, and it is exactly what the world needed. Right. Because God knew your purpose before He created you, and once He knew what she needed you for, then you was created so beautifully like you are. So you hiding yourself is really taking away a lot from all of us.
And I'll close up by just throwing a challenge out there.
Yes.
I want to throw a challenge to anybody watching this video, you know, anybody listening. I want to challenge everybody to practice stillness and mindfulness for the next 2 months, and see if you achieve, or if you realize something different about your information, about what you know about this reality. If your perspective about reality is going to change, I want you to just practice it and tell me now what comes out of it. You should just share it with somebody and tell the person what you experienced and what your experience was after 2 months of stillness and meditation and mindfulness. So just be very in tune with yourself for the next 2 months, and you see, and you now tell me. Now you now see where Kanye West is coming from, you know. And I just want to give everybody that challenge. Just go try it and just try it out, and just write down their own report and just see if their mindset changed from where they are today and where they will be after the 2 months, you know.
Yes. And again, me and Ifeanyi are super open-minded. We want to have dialogue. Do not think in no shape or form we are saying, you know, this has to be your truth. We are only speaking what we believe and what we got out of it. But we are so open to dialoguing with our brothers and sisters from all over the world. So if you get a chance to watch this video, make sure you comment. Make sure you let us know what you think, what part of the video you didn't agree with or you did agree with. And we will, of course, comment back and interact with you. I will put our information down underneath the video. So I'll put Ifeanyi's Instagram, my Instagram. So feel free to follow us, DM us, let us know what you think. And, of course, comment here. Okay? And that is all for Ifeanyi and I. We are checking out. Thank you so much, and peace and love. We will catch you guys soon.